Hi folks! So something I've noticed looking at the internet is some people demonstrate the use of curved swords and some of them do something wrong from my perspective, and there's a really easy way you can tell that they're doing this thing wrong. The thing that I think that they're doing wrong is they're cutting out so the sword is ending in a straight line with the forearm. Okay? Now clearly I'm holding a toolbar here because it was the first curved sword that came to hand. So I've spoken in the past about how the disc pommel kind of prevents you doing that. Okay? Instead, when you hit something or someone, you end up with an angle, not 90 degrees, but somewhere more like about 120 degrees between the forearm and the blade. And this is the optimum way of cutting with a toolbar, and the disc pommel kind of encourages you, or to some extent enforces you in doing this type of cutting. Now, there are of course other kinds of curved sword, such as Shamshir, or indeed things like 1796 light cavalry sabres, where it doesn't have a pommel that forces you to do this type of cutting, keeping an angle there between the forearm and the blade that's less than 180 degrees. If you widen that out to 180 degrees, what often happens if you cut with a curved sword is at the moment you impact or stop the blade in mid-air, the back end of the sword rolls over. Okay? And this is how I see, when I watch videos of people doing this with a curved sword, how I usually immediately spot that they're doing it, and I think, oh, that's wrong, they should know not to do that. Okay? So I'm not going to point any fingers, but you can look around at some people who put videos up on YouTube of use of curved swords, and if you see them cutting either at a target or stopping in mid-air, and the back end of the sword sort of rolls over, okay, so typically, boom, they go here, and then the back end kind of rolls over like this, which of course in cutting terms is absolutely crap, because you wouldn't cut properly, because you hit with the edge and then you essentially slap with the flat. If you see them doing this, boom, and then roll, so kind of doing that, you know they're doing it wrong. Okay, and the way to get over that and to not do it wrong is to remember to keep some degree of angle between the base of the blade and the forearm that's smaller than 180 degrees. And I would say it's nearer something like, what is that, 90 plus 45, let's say about 135 degrees. Okay, I think that is probably about the optimum angle. And incidentally, this of course naturally leads to the so-called mystical drawing cut. There's nothing magical or difficult about the drawing cut. It is very simply hitting with 130 degrees here rather than 180 degrees. Okay? Yes, it has shorter reach, but it will cut more effectively, and you don't run the risk, by doing this, you don't run the risk of the sword rolling over and hitting with the flat. So, this is harsh, but true. If you see people cutting with curved swords and the back end of the sword is rolling over at the end, they're doing it wrong. Thank you.